Hey folks, this is Kalani. World of Warcraft can be pretty confusing sometimes, especially if you haven't been in Azeroth for quite a while. Whether you're coming back to the game after a long break or picking up Battle for Azeroth again after a few months, or maybe you're in World of Warcraft for the first time, here's everything you need to know regarding what's changed, how to get yourself up to speed, and how all of the current endgame systems work. Before we jump in, be sure to pop by our live stream sometime over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 12 PM PST, and we're having a lot of fun with it, exploring the alpha, getting caught up with some BfA progress, and even running content with viewers. It's a lot of fun, so I hope you swing by to say hi. The first thing that I've seen confuse quite a few returning or new players is the whole expansion system. What do you have to buy and how far can you go? If you start playing in Wrath, do you have to buy all of the expansions up until the latest one like before? It's actually much simpler these days. If you're a new player or you're returning to the game but haven't yet played or purchased Battle for Azeroth, you just need the subscription. Your $15 subscription is the only startup you need nowadays. You don't need to buy the base game or individual expansions. The game time sub will include every expansion up until Legion, including Legion, which is the expansion before Battle for Azeroth. That includes a level cap of 110, so that's how far you can go with just your game time. And honestly, I wouldn't even bother looking into BfA until you play around for a bit. 110 is a lot of levels to work your way through, and you can decide whether the game is right for you during that time. It's also a bunch of content for just $15. So if you're bored right now, WoW is actually amazing value for the cost. If you want to get past level 110 and explore the current expansion, Battle for Azeroth, you'd need to buy that separately. That's still $50 on the Battle.net store, and if you end up buying the BfA expansion, you'll also get some boosts which allow you to skip most of the leveling process on your character. Each boost is only usable on one character though, so choose wisely. BfA comes with a level 110 boost. The next expansion, Shadowlands, is available for pre-order as well, but right now you do have to buy BfA first. If you do pick up the Shadowlands pre-order, the Heroic Edition or higher will also give you a 120 boost, which is the current max level, so if you use that you can hop straight into endgame content and skip leveling entirely. At least on one character. I hope that clears up what you actually need to buy to get started and what buying BfA gives you later on down the line. So you have your subscription, you're in the game. The first leg of most returning or new players' journey will be leveling, but so much has changed over the last expansion alone, not to mention the last few. Depending on when you last played WoW, if you have at all, things could be very different indeed. Right now, any new character that isn't an allied race, we'll get to that in a second, will start at level 1 as per usual. You'll start in a specific area for your chosen race, and you can level up by completing quests. At level 10 you'll unlock specializations, which let you choose how you want to play your class. Some classes can tank, heal, or DPS. Pick whatever sounds fun until you get a bit further into the game. At level 15 you will unlock the ability to queue for dungeons. You can use this tool to join a random dungeon group from anywhere in the world, so you don't have to run to any instance portals, and when you're done you'll pop right back out where you joined up. The two main leveling methods that players use right now are questing, which is pretty straightforward. Just keep picking up quests, completing them, turning them in, and then heading off for a new quest hub. The other main method is dungeon spamming. Queue up for a dungeon, complete it, queue up for another dungeon, rinse repeat. Right now everyone has a 100% bonus experience buff until the next expansion's pre-patch goes live, which is going to be around October at the very earliest, so we have this huge experience buff for many months to come. That's going to drastically speed up your leveling no matter what you do for experience. I briefly mentioned allied races. They are a little special. You need to complete achievements in-game to be able to create and play allied races, but as a cool bonus they all start at level 20. So if you have some of the Legion allied races unlocked already, you could skip a few levels by playing one of those. This is one more thing you could work on at max level to really open up your available playable races if you don't care too much about the rest of endgame. Another huge change with leveling is the scaling. If you haven't played in a while, you might remember that zones had level ranges. Monsters had fixed levels and you could out-level a zone. That's not strictly true anymore. Almost any zone in the game will scale with your level. So if you're level 50 in Westfall, or in Ghostlands, or in the Barrens, All of the mobs will also be level 50. There are some limitations to this based on expansion brackets. Vanilla content only scales to level 60, so when you hit level 60 you'll have to move on to either the Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King expansions. Remember that they are included in your subscription. You don't need to do anything extra to actually unlock those, you just need to go to the appropriate zones. Now those each scale from 60 to 80, which means you can go to either Outlands or Northrend at level 60, so you do get a bit more choice now. You can even do a few zones in one and then a few zones in the other, but those expansions content will only scale to level 80. After that you have to move on again. The Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria expansions are next, and they both scale from level 80 to 90. Then you move on to Warlords of Draenor, which will get you from level 90 to 100. Legion starts at level 100 and goes until level 110, and that's where you can head into Battle for Azeroth and see what the current expansion is all about. If you don't buy BfA, you can only get to 110, but if you do buy the expansion, you can progress all the way up to the current cap of level 120. I really wish the Shadowlands leveling changes were in already, because talking through this, it's no wonder people get kind of confused with it. Shadowlands is actually doing away with this entire process and streamlining the entire thing, which is amazing. But that's still something we have to wait for. Hopefully this little rundown will help you not get lost on your leveling adventure. Let's skip ahead a little bit and talk about Endgame. The current Endgame is patch 8.3 of Battle for Azeroth, and because we're at the end of an expansion, we have a lot to work through before you can get caught up. The first major system at Endgame is your Heart of Azeroth. You'll actually get this around level 110 or whenever you start the first Battle for Azeroth storyline quests. Magni will call you down to Silithus and show you the Chamber of Heart. We'll be coming back here quite a lot, so remember where it is. Azeroth gives you a necklace called the Heart of Azeroth, which you will use for the rest of the expansion. You will not be able to replace this until Shadowlands comes out, so say goodbye to looking for any other neck piece. You can power up your amulet by collecting Azerite, which is rewarded by quests, dungeons, raids, pretty much everywhere really. As you collect Azerite, your amulet will level up, which will also increase its item level, so it will provide you with more stats, and it will allow you to unlock more powers in Azerite gear. More on that in a second. Some major questlines in BfA will also allow you to skip huge chunks of the amulet leveling process. I wouldn't bother farming Azerite until you catch up with the latest quests in patch 8.3, as you will be able to skip all the way up to level 50 and get there very quickly. So get the skip to 50 first, you do that just by completing the key quests in patch 8.3, then look at picking up some extra Azerite if you want to continue farming it out. Your amulet level will be very important for the next endgame system, Azerite gear. Any and all headpieces, shoulder pieces, and chest pieces in Battle for Azeroth are called Azerite gear. You cannot get normal gear for these slots in this expansion. Azerite gear contains various Azerite traits which will provide you with some potentially powerful bonuses. If you're looking at guides and they say, make sure to get XYZ Azerite trait, this is the system they're talking about. Each ring of traits requires a higher Heart of Azeroth amulet to unlock, so if one of the rings is greyed out, you need a higher heart level to benefit from that piece of Azerite gear. On most pieces of Azerite gear you have 4 rings and a central point. The 2 outer rings are traits specific to your class, and you get 2 of them on this ring for every specialization you have. So a Guardian Druid will have 8 total, whereas a Demon Hunter, who only has 2 specializations, will only have 4 total to choose from. There are traits for DPS, tanks, and healers, so be sure to pick up the trait that matches the spec and role you want to play. The second ring will have another trait choice for each spec that you have, plus 1 general trait which changes depending on the piece of Azerite gear and where it comes from. The third ring are general traits that everyone gets to choose from. The fourth ring is a defensive trait, and then the central point increases the item level of your Azerite piece by 5. You're mainly interested in the 2 outer rings, that's where the good stuff is. Azerite gear can come from world quests, dungeons, raids, PvP, pretty much any other sort of gear will also drop some Azerite gear. The main exception is Mythic plus dungeons, but completing Mythic plus dungeons will reward you with Titan Residuum in your weekly box. You can take this Residuum to a special vendor and trade it for higher item level Azerite gear. We'll talk more about that in a separate video focused on gearing up, but if you want to find the Azerite gear vendor, just ask a guard where your transmog is. The Azerite gear vendor will be in the same building. The next major endgame system is the Heart of Azeroth essences. This one is a bit weird because essences are still very much endgame content and they're incredibly important, but actually unlocking essences is part of an old patch. You'll need to start the Nazjatar introduction questline, which is part of patch 8.2. The key starter quest is called War Chief's Order for the Horde or the Wolf's Offensive for the Alliance. This quest will be available at your faction's boat, the one where you pick up all of your war campaign quests. If you've played in BfA before, this might just pop up for you as you log in. If it does, great. Go down to your boat and progress with the quests until you unlock essences. If you haven't worked through this before, you have a bit of a longer list to get through. You need to unlock world quests first, which will require friendly with the 3 leveling zones reputations. This is very easy to do as long as you level at least a bit in each zone. Just complete some of the main storylines and you'll be friendly in no time. Basically, just complete all of the quests that your main war campaign NPC gives you. That's going to be Nathanos for the Horde and I believe Gen Greymane for the Alliance. If they still have a quest for you and you haven't gotten the quest to start Nazjatar, just keep going until you complete Uniting Zandalar or Uniting Kul'Tiras. It's a bit of a long haul for a new player sadly, but you'll get there eventually. I would recommend leveling through the zones in BfA for the first time for exactly this reason. Try to get friendly with all 3 reps. You'll thank me later. If you still can't see the quest on your faction boat, relog. Log back out, log back in. That usually forces the quest to pop up if you've completed all of the prerequisites. Partway through the Nazjatar questline, Magni will pop out of the ground and want to talk to you. This is the start of essences. You can ignore the rest of Nazjatar if you want to, unless you want to go back and go through the story. That's your choice. For essences, go through Magni's quests. Visit High Mountain, collect your prize from the big rock dude, and take it back to the chamber. When you empower the Heartforge in the middle, that's it. Essences are now unlocked. The essence system is a lot more complicated when compared to the Azerite trait system though. You start with a major slot in the middle unlocked. This is the only active ability you will get from the system, but you can change what it does depending on which essence you slot into it. You start with Crucible of Flame, which deals damage on a short cooldown, but you can get essences that improve your healing, provide massive DPS buffs and bonuses, give you special passives like the ability to trigger a free Avenging Wrath on paladins. Some essences are incredibly powerful, and some classes actually rely on essences to even work properly. Fire mages without their Lucid Dream essence perform very poorly, so you'll need to get that one if you want to play that class. You'll notice that each essence has a major and a minor power. The major power is only ever active for the one essence you slot into the middle. For the essence that you pick in that big slot, the minor power will also be active. As you level up your amulet by collecting Azerite, like we talked about earlier, you'll gain access to up to 3 additional minor slots. You can put more essences into these slots, but as they are only minor slots, you will only gain the benefits of the minor powers of those essences. If you hover over each essence in the list, you can see where they come from. For essences that you already have, you can also see where the next rank will come from. Each essence has 3 ranks, and as you get higher ranks, you will deal more damage, do more healing, more tankiness, whatever the essence does will get better, and you will gain access to more effects on the essence. A rank 3 essence is the most powerful essence you can get, so be sure to rank up every essence that's good for your class and you want to make use of. You can find guides for each essence on websites like Wowhead, or you can track down the appropriate quests or achievements in the game yourself. Then we finally come to the patch 8.3 stuff. You may have heard everyone going crazy about corruptions and corruption effects and how much they can increase your DPS. Corruptions are the main end game gearing system in patch 8.3. Any piece of gear you loot has a chance to be corrupted. It's completely random, so you don't have any control over it. The effect is random, and there are various tiers of effects, and the tier you get is also random. Be thankful, they actually took some of the randomness out of this system before implementing it. That's for normal, run-of-the-mill gear drops. It's also worth noting that your amulet, your Azerite gear, and your trinkets cannot be corrupted. Some gear drops are guaranteed to be corrupted, for example, Horrific Visions loot, we'll talk about this more in a second. Gear from your weekly Mythic Plus cache, or gear from your weekly PvP cache is also guaranteed to be corrupted, so you will always get corruption on any items from those sources. And then there's also a few items from the Nyalothar raid which will always come with corruption as well. Corruption effects can increase your DPS dramatically in a variety of ways. Passive increases of stats, procs of stats, big procs of damage, applying damage over time, or bleeds to your target, they only exist to increase your throughput. That is their sole purpose. They will make you deal more damage, do more healing, whatever it may be. But corruption effects also come with a new stat or value that you need to watch out for. Corruption. The more corruption you have, the more negative effects that you'll start to see. At 1 corruption, anytime you take damage, you have a chance to be slowed. Not too bad. At 20 corruption, an eye will randomly pop out and start damaging you. At 40 corruption, there's a chance for a spirit of yourself to spawn that starts to chase you. If they reach you, they will deal a lot of damage to you. At 60 corruption, this all gets combined in a nasty way. If the spirit from 40 corruption hits you, it also immediately triggers the slow effect and the AoE eye ability. If you go above 80 corruption, you will then also start taking increased damage and take decreased healing. So as you can see, even though corruption effects can be incredibly powerful, the corruption stat that goes along with them is quite dangerous. If you have too much corruption, you'll die very quickly. It's also worth noting that the more corruption you have, the worse each of these effects becomes. So the spirit will deal more damage, the eye AoE area will be significantly larger, and the slow gets to the point where you basically can't move. That's where the next system comes in, the legendary cloak. After finishing the Essence questline and you go back to Zuldazar or Borealis, you should get a quest to talk to Valera called Return of the Black Prince. That's the start of the legendary cloak questline. It will send you back down to the Heart Chamber to talk to Magni, and you'll start up a whole other adventure. That will take you through patch 8.3's content, heading over to Uldum to figure out what's going on with the Forge of Origination and to meet our old friends in Ramkehen. This is one of the main zones you'll be playing in and one faction you'll be earning reputation with. You'll also be introduced to Assaults, which are a special kind of world quest in Uldum and in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Assaults will be key for collecting various 8.3 goodies like Coalescing Visions and Echoes of Nyalotha. There are 3 assaults total, 1 Black Empire assault and 2 faction assaults. The faction assaults reset on Friday for North American realms and Saturday for European realms, and the Black Empire assaults is once per week. So you have 3 assaults to do every week if you want to maximize rewards. You can kill monsters, interact with objects, complete little events, kill rares, loot chests. Almost anything in the assault zone will contribute towards the assault, which makes it pretty easy to get through. After you complete the Uldum assault, you'll be sent over to Pandaria to continue your questline. You meet the Rajani, do another assault, work through another scenario, head back to the chamber, figure out how to deal with N'Zoth, do some chores for Rathian and explore your first horrific vision. Just follow the orange quest markers and you should be okay. I'm not going to lie, it is quite a lengthy questline and you have to do it on every character you want to get the cloak on, but you need the cloak if you want to play around with the corruption system at all. And you can't even do the last 2 bosses in the raid without the cloak, so it is still a very important system to unlock. Once you've done all of that, Rathian will give you the cloak and you can tick one more thing off your list. You can upgrade your legendary cloak through the horrific visions of N'Zoth as well. If you talk to Rathian, he will give you quest after quest after quest after quest to head into horrific visions and get certain books or pages. The first 5 or so upgrades come from the boss of the vision, and after that you need to complete bonus objectives to progress. The questline for your legendary cloak will introduce you to this system and you'll need more coalescing visions to trade for more vessels to open more visions. That means you have to complete assaults and daily quests, which you will more or less walk through when getting your legendary cloak, to be able to continue to upgrade it. The dev team also recently reduced the requirements for each stage of the legendary cloak to make it much faster to progress through. As you upgrade the cloak, it will provide you with more corruption resistance, which will counteract the corruption value on your gear. So if you have 50 corruption from your gear and 50 corruption resistance, you'll have a net corruption of 0 and therefore suffer no negative effects. As your cloak gets upgraded, it will also provide more protection against the sanity drain mechanics in horrific visions, allowing you to stay in them longer to complete more objectives. You will also be earning another currency, corrupted mementos, which can be used to unlock new upgrades and talents in an archive that you are also introduced to in the legendary questline. The upgrades here are crucial for vision progression, so always spend all of the mementos you have before you enter another vision. If you're struggling in horrific visions, you have 3 options to help progress. Use your sanity more wisely and try not to stand in any of the bad stuff, gear up a little bit so it's a little bit easier, or just upgrade a few more things in your talent tree. Those 3 things will help you massively in your horrific visions progress. I will also say it gets significantly easier the further you upgrade your legendary cloak. That sanity drain protection is huge. So the difference between being able to get more objectives and not could just be one more rank on your legendary cloak. There is one other source of corruption resistance, Heart of Azeroth essences that come from patch 8.3 content. If you hover over an essence, some will say, unique, corruption resistance increased by 10. You can only benefit from one of these essences at any given time, and it's the only other source of resistance apart from the legendary cloak. To top off patch 8.3's content, a new vendor was added that allows you to actually buy corruption effects. They cost Echoes of Ny'alotha, which you can earn after you unlock your legendary cloak. Echoes come from assaults, raid bosses, dungeons, battlegrounds, weekly chests. Honestly, most types of content in BfA will award you with some echoes. As long as you're playing endgame content, you'll be earning Echoes of Ny'alotha almost no matter what, and without trying. Mother is the vendor you'll be looking for, so just take all of your echoes to her and she'll get you sorted with some custom corruptions. That's in the Chamber of Heart once again, so as you can see, you're going to be there a lot. Just bear in mind that she does not carry every corruption at the same time. It rotates every time the smaller assaults rotate, so Friday for NA, Saturday for EU. She carries up to 7 corruption effects at any one time, so you might be waiting a while for the one you want. And that should cover pretty much everything you need to know as a returning or new player in Battle for Azeroth right now. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to drop a comment below and I'll try to get back to you. It's a lot to process, I know, and it's a lot to get done if you want to play the current endgame. But remember, this is the very end of Battle for Azeroth. Don't burn yourself out if it's too much for you. You can still go back to older content solo style and farm for mounts, pets, transmog, all that cool stuff. If you aren't interested in raiding or playing dungeons at endgame, you might be able to skip over most of this stuff and just enjoy what's left of BfA. We can all get our mega grinds on again when Shadowlands releases, and it's promising to be a lot of fun from what we've seen so far. So you do you, but for anyone wanting to get caught up, I hope this video helped. Have you had any troubles as a new or returning player in World of Warcraft? Are there any other specific topics you would like additional help with? Starting up dungeons, getting into raiding, or maybe just the easiest way to get more mounts? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to explore the alpha or run a couple dungeons with us, you can find us over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 12 PM PST. Watching the stream and coming to say hi is one of the best ways you can support the channel right now, and if you ever wanted to be included in the list of names at the end of every video, a subscription on Twitch is the easiest way to make that happen. You get a free sub to any Twitch channel if you have an Amazon Prime too, so be sure to take advantage of that. A big thank you to everyone who has subscribed on Twitch already and to our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, well, now you know how. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.